we need to urgently audit the country's debts at national, subnational level immediately to know the quantum of the debts that we owe, because I believe that we don't have the exact size of the debts, know who and who we're owing, and most importantly, know what those debts were used for, or how they were contracted or sourced. Because the law says that all borrowing, all debts is supposed to be used for critical area of development. So where are the benefits of those debts to the people? Because the people are not going to pay it. Where is the benefit? This is time to do the audit and know what we are going through. So that we, especially as we don't have not just presidential jets. Somebody was telling me about
a property in Liverpool.
Property in London,
in Liverpool,
being seized and put for auction. Somebody is telling me about another jet belonging to Nigeria in Canada and everything. This is time to deal with it, because sooner or later they probably will start seizing Nigerians. You issue your passport, you are arrested for being a debtor. So before it gets to the place where we can no longer move around as Nigerians without being arrested, let's know exactly what it is all about. Similarly, we need to audit now all our upfront sales of our oil, because the law says it must be used for critical, strategic, national issues. What did we use all these resources for?
And I'm glad you just talked on that oil situation. The fact that we have Dangote refinery seeking to process to have the federal government offer them a sale of oil so that they can be able to, based on the refinery being built. What is your position on the controversy that's going on regarding?
I've said it, it shouldn't have been. If there's anything we need to do today, is to, as quickly as possible, ensure that the refinery gets all the crude they need.
So you feel that they should get all the crude they need?
Everything, as quickly as possible.
Why?
And that's why I said we must today. One of the trades we have on foreign exchange is importation of refined fuel. So if we have something local that can help us manage that situation, we should have been very, very aggressive in ensuring that it's operational.
But that's before you build a refinery, Mr. Dangote, shouldn't he have consulted to ensure that
no, I will pass that stage.
Okay.
I will supply to anybody who have a refinery today as quickly as possible. Thank you.
And it looks like we
Thank
have
you very much.
Another question from Charles.
My name is His Royal Highness Charles Ebwe. His Excellency, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
My question is, as Nigerians, we know some of our problems. When you have large cost of governance, people in the Senate, people in the House of Rep, making millions of naira, even having newspapers allowance that nobody reads newspapers anymore nowadays, everything's online. I strongly believe that if Nigerian current government cannot control the expenditure of what they dish out to all the people representing us, we will continue to have difficulties in managing the affairs of the country. What do you think, as a former governor or as a presidential aspirant, what should be the minimum salary for those people representing us in the House? Thank you.
Thank you very much. If you have followed me, Charles, you know, I've been, I don't know how to describe it, but a very, very, very campaigner of cutting the cost of governance, aggressively ensuring that it's reduced to minimum. And it's not just those who are in the house. For the executive, I've operated at that level as a governor, and I can tell you the cost of governance in Nigeria is not just irresponsible, it's criminal, because there's so much waste. And that you can drop to a very minimal level and have resources to deal with other issues. You can't just have people stay in one place, you know, renovating houses, building palaces, buying planes, while abandoning critical areas of development. It just took me yesterday that the number one critical area of development is health. And you can't talk about health without talking about primary health care. If you look at the budget of our capital budget of our primary health care, because when you talk about budget, yes, what you put into the recurrence is to pay for, but the capital side of it is what will allow you to build the necessary infrastructure. If you look at the capital component of our primary health care, which is the foundation of health, for 2024 is about 59 billion plus. If you look at the capital budget of all our teaching hospitals, from that of Ibadan, University of Ibadan, University of Lagos, University of Nigeria, Soka, Ahmadu Bello University, University of Jos. If you put all of them together, all the universities, which is, this is your specialist teaching hospitals, where you can say that is where the best is. If you put their capital budget and or primary health care together, it is not up to the money we used to buy a new plane. That is where the problem is. The same thing goes to the National Assembly, where you have budgets like what I've mentioned, I think in my last year, you have a budget where we don't have a national library where people can go and have reference and everything. The budget for it this year is under 1 billion, but you have National Assembly Library for 15 billion, which nobody's going to use. So for me, it is something you need to dismantle. And there are things I follow, and I read this and I know what is happening. So it's not about me, it's about, if you're there, you have to come out and show this is the way to go. But it has to start with you, who is on the executive side, before you can tell other people to manage their own situation.
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Just a point of clarification, there is a link in the comment section for anyone who wants to ask questions. But I did see one question that I'd like to ask. I think it scrolled up, but what is your perspective on the current situation with Nnamdi Kanu and how he's been treated? Do you have any?
Well, you know, I've always said about agitators that I've discussed about all agitators. Whoever is agitating, whoever is protesting, I must discuss with the person, because there's nothing wrong in anybody, for me, agitating. There's nothing wrong in anybody protesting. There's nothing wrong if anybody even call me bad name. Because if I expect the whole registered voters or the whole 200 million Nigerians to be in love with me, then I'm mad. There would be at least 40-50% who don't want to see my face. All I need to do is to continue to engage them to earn their own followership. You're a leader. The job of a leader is to every day work hard to find solutions to the problems of the people. Working hard every day to ensure that the people benefit from governance. In so doing, more and more people who want to love you, work with you, what you don't do that by leadership. It's about service. Finding solutions. It's not about harassing people. It's not about throwing people into jail. Everybody saw it. As a governor, I can say it, no policeman, no military man, no security man will ever say, one day I asked him to do what is wrong, to arrest anybody, to do anything, because it's not necessary. There's so many people who disagree with me as governor, and they help me. When people disagree with me, they're helping you.
And that's that was going to my next question. How do you deal with criticism, and have you found anything valid in the criticism so far?
Whenever the job of a leader is to listen, it is a critical component of your leadership is listening and learning. If you can no longer listen and learn, you should not lead, because you don't know everything. You must be able, and you must also be able to know that from time to time you must go to the people to be able to evaluate what you're doing, because whatever you do as a leader is demand driven. It is you're doing what the people want. So if you go, it's like when they sell something in a shop, they say, if you don't like this, you return it to some place. Or if you find anything wrong, it's the same thing with politics. I'm doing something based on what the people demanded and everything, and be able to say quarterly, what did we do right and wrong, and listen to the people. As governor, we are doing quarterly review of all our activities and action for the 8 years I was in government, so that you know, and you will go to the people from time to time, and they do a town hall and they listen to you. And I believe that today, as President of Nigeria, quarterly or biannually, I leave Abuja, go to Kano and stay, go to Sokoto, anywhere and stay and say to the people, I want you to tell me whether we're on the right track or not. I want you to contribute how we can solve this problem.
Can you discuss a mentor or a figure who has significantly impacted your leadership style, your decision-making progress, your process? Who is that for you?
I look at countries and what countries are doing. For me, I don't go looking just at this figure or this figure. I look at the overall thing that countries are doing. So on one side, people who love their country above their own ambition. That is a very critical influence in all of us. I'm looking at it every day and saying, wow, this is what it should be. I'm looking, of course, from Mandela to Gandhi to all. Again, somebody like Mandela, they were begged him to do a second term, which he said no. So you look at all these things, you look at where people were ready to do. They're not looking at their personal gain. They took decisions that were very difficult, like Margaret Thatcher did in the UK, for the sake of her country. That this cannot continue. We cannot continue. He wasn't doing it when Margaret Thatcher was dismantling all those companies and privatizing them. He wasn't gaining in it. We did privatization, and we're still going on doing it. But you find out that if you go and see those things that are privatized, they are like people were benefiting from them. It was a case of we were privatizing profits to people, and the companies are not doing good, so we're socializing losses.
Due to the Ogun State administration, Ogun State governor, Nigerian jets were seized overseas in France based on a situation with a Chinese company. Now, the state this is something that happened within the state government side, and is now affecting the presidential jets being seized. What is your position on that situation, and how is impacting the visual optics for Nigeria as a whole, as a country? And do you think it's fair that a state government did something and the federal government is now having to pay the price for it?
Well, for me, the first thing to say that what we are going through now is very, very shameful and very negative in terms of the perception of our country. And something needs to be done very quickly. And I have made my humble request is that we need to urgently audit the country's debts at national, sub-national level immediately to know the quantum of the debts that we owe, because I believe that we don't have the exact size of the debt, know who we're owing, and most importantly, know what those debts were used for, or how they were contracted or sourced. Because the law says that all borrowing, all debts is supposed to be used for critical area of development. So where are the benefits of those debts to the people? Because the people are not going to pay it. Where is the benefit? This is time to do the audit and know what we are going through. So that especially as we don't have not just presidential jets. Somebody was telling me about
a property in Liverpool.
Property in London
in Liverpool
being seized and put for auction. Somebody is telling me about another jet belonging to Nigeria in Canada and everything. This is time to deal with it, because sooner or later they probably will start seizing Nigerians. You issue your passport, you are arrested for being a debtor. So before it gets to the place where we can no longer move around as Nigerians without being arrested, let's know exactly what it is all about. Similarly, that we need to audit now all our upfront sales of our oil, because the law says it must be used for critical, strategic, national issues. What did we use all these resources for?